I've ran over 3,000 miles in the past year, improved my marathon time to 2 hours and 40 minutes, all without doing traditional weightlifting. My strength training has actually been fascia training, using the principles by Coach Changze and the Hyperarch training methods. This is actually phase 2 of the series. Phase 1 is all about rolling out the fascia. If you missed it, I'll link it up here. Today I'll be showing you the exact strengthening drills that I use to build a stronger kinetic chain, specifically from the foot to the glute, that is essential for all runners. A lot of runners do lifts that actually disconnect their running form, whereas these drills do the opposite. By the end of this, you'll know how to train your fascia the way that Coach Chang teaches it: connected, elastic, and effortless. Let's start with the first step, activating the foot. The first exercise, after you've kind of got the rolling out down, you feel like your fascia is starting to release a little bit, is the toe curls. Gripping the towel with your toes and then letting it release. So obviously here I'm using a smaller blanket. You can use a towel, whatever it is. He says to focus on having your heel lifted. He says to put about 60% of your body weight on the ball of your foot. So all through here, right below your toes there. And then you're just focusing on flexing, crunching those toes and squeezing the towel, letting it go. The first time I ever did this, my left foot, because I've had surgery on that ankle, I had almost no control over those toes at all. Like, it was the weirdest feeling. There were some of my toes, I felt like I couldn't get them to move at all. Obviously, we have our toes for a reason. They're supposed to be able to bend. They're supposed to be able to function. This isn't to say that you need to suddenly become a barefoot runner or never wear shoes. It's just getting strength back into your feet, because so much of our strength actually starts in our feet and goes up the kinetic chain. This is a great place to start. So a lot of the elite athletes that he works with calls it a foot to glute connection. So as they're doing an exercise like this, they'll actually start to feel the burn in their glute instead of their foot or calf. I haven't gotten quite there yet where I get like a burn in my glute. I will start to get some sensation. Again, it's been a couple months, so it takes a while, especially if your fascial connection is weakened or damaged for any reason, but it's a great thing to practice. You might start to get some cramps in your calf. Sometimes you'll feel it in the quad. Again, the more that you roll out, loosen those adhesions, and practice this, the better you'll get at it. I've seen videos where he's had an elite athlete do this and they feel their glute engaging within like 10 seconds of the toe curls. Pretty crazy. Okay, for these next exercises, you're gonna actually want a marble, something similar to this size that you can actually grip with your toe, and I'll explain why. When you grip with your second toe, engages this muscle right here that runs up the front of your leg. This kind of forces those foot to glute connection that he talks about. You don't want to put it underneath your big toe because that kind of causes you to have to flex your foot a bit too much. So when you grip it with your second toe, it's just enough to where you'll feel a little bit of tension in your arch and in your foot, but it's not like too much. And again, this will be a little tricky at first, but just bear with me. So the first one is called a gait cycle. For runners, you might recognize this motion. So you're going to keep that gripped in between your toes, and you don't want your foot to flex down or flex up. So dorsiflexion or plantar flexion, you don't want either of those. You just want to keep it neutral as best you can, and then you'll come through like you're running. So nice and controlled. And sometimes I'll keep my arms up like this, like I'm actually running. And what this does is retrains your fascia to just glide past itself like it's supposed to, and it helps restore normal function with balance, coordination, engaging muscles, fascia, all that good stuff. And again, you want to do this for a couple minutes. I will usually start to feel the burn in my opposite glute because that glute is having to stabilize you while you're going through. And if you've been running long enough, you know how important it is to activate your glutes. This is an amazing way to do it while also just getting some gentle activations in. This doesn't look like much, but it really helps with your knee drive, your knee lift, getting all of this engaged and just back to its normal functionality. Again, 2 to 3 minutes there, switch feet, same thing. You may find that one leg is a bit tougher to balance on than the other. I try to focus on my opposite foot, pushing down through my big toe and keeping that tension through my foot, just keeping things nice and stable. You can go backwards if you'd like. I typically like to just mimic the running motion because that's what I'm always doing. Same thing for this one, gripping with the toe. Second toe is called just a leg swing, but a bit different than you might be used to. Try not to kick this mirror behind me. Now, what you're gonna wanna do is not kick your leg, but essentially just swing it forward with control. I'll actually have my arms get pretty involved in this one. Similar to the first one, this one might not look like it's doing a whole lot, but after a couple minutes, holy crap, will your glute be on fire. I try to kick up until I feel, some solid tension in my hamstring and then coming down. And you'll notice I'm not like kicking and losing control, right? It's very controlled. So it's almost like a leg lift, and then you just kind of let it glide back down. And yeah, I like to go until my glute starts burning like crazy. And I'll go for another minute if I can. So this is usually about 3 minutes in total on each leg. I'll switch. You can exaggerate the arms a little bit if you'd like. And you'll notice some days your coordination isn't quite there, so you'll have to really focus on staying balanced. I practice these a couple times a week, and you definitely want to take a day off after practicing these. You don't want to do these multiple days in a row. Whew. Glute is burning. If you follow Coach Strong, you hear him talk about the basic three. Those are the basic 3 HFT exercises. So toe curl, gait cycle, leg swings. I'll show you a couple extra that I've found just by digging through his videos. Now, I haven't perfected any of these really, but these ones are pretty tough that I'm about to show you, and I don't have all the details on them because a lot of the details for these are on his Patreon or on his paid platform. So I'll just show you kind of what I've observed from these other ones, and we'll go through them. Okay, now this is like the advanced version of the toe curls. So you're going to be gripping again with the toes, heel elevated, and then you're going to be rotating. So you're going to be grabbing and pulling, as long as your cat doesn't lay down right on the towel. There it goes. So you're grabbing, pulling, and then you're going back the opposite direction. Grabbing, rotating out, grabbing, rotating out, grabbing, rotating out. Just keep going back and forth a few times. Helps with the stabilizers in your ankle. This one's tricky, still working on it myself. That is the advanced version of the toe curls. Hyperarch Hops. So essentially just jumps, but you're not letting your heel touch, and you're trying to maintain some tension in your ankles and your glutes. So it's just hops, but you don't want your ankle to flex much. So you're kind of keeping your ankle like it would be like when you're running, and then it's just hitting the ground and coming back off. So it's not like jumping rope or like that. Like you want it to be pretty tense, pretty stiff, and then you're just jumping. He's also mentioned that this helped the fascia to like shake up a little bit and help it to glide some more. This one I can't really get to feel my glutes. I mainly just feel it in my calves still, so I may not be doing it entirely right, but still practicing that one. He says to go for a minute or two. Pretty tough, pretty tough. Another one that I really like are these lunge holds. Same vibe, heels off the ground like it was for the towel curls. After a minute or two, you will feel this in your glute that's stabilizing you. He says that these are just so important because so much of our power and our force comes from our glutes because they are the biggest muscle that we have. Yeah, these ones are great. You want to just maintain that tension, couple minutes, keep that heel lifted. This one will burn too. Just the other leg just to show y'all. So this one is a single leg elevated heel hold. Now, as far as your off leg, I've done it here, I've done it a little bit behind. You can kind of experiment with your balance here. You can put a hand against the wall slightly if you need. Again, you're supposed to feel it in your glute. I mostly feel it in my calf and my quad a little bit. Knee can be slightly bent. You just want to keep that heel lifted, and you want to hold this for 2 minutes. So definitely tough. Once you get up close to 2 minutes, you'll be burning. You switch legs, 2 minutes on each side. You can do this for a couple sets. This one is a good challenge. I definitely have noticed overall my control and my strength in my legs while I'm running is crazy. The fact that I don't have any pain is the reason why I'm sharing this video in the first place, because I've tried so many different mobility, strength, exercise routines. I believe that I truly had a very non-functional fascial connection. So this has really helped me to dial that in. And while it's nowhere near perfect or elite level yet, it's way better than it was a couple months back. So once you have made progress in those exercises, I heard him talk about how the next step is integrating your core into all this. Foot to your glute to your core to really lock all these fascial connections in. I haven't found a ton of core exercises by him, but I will show you the one that I found that is super helpful. This one you might recognize from Pilates class. essentially hovering your knees a few inches off the ground and holding this for about a minute. You start there. That's beginner level, is just holding this. It's quite difficult once you get up to a minute or 90 seconds. And you want your back to be pretty much flat, legs at a 90-degree angle. That'll get your core pretty fired up. Now, to add on to this, essentially like walking out your feet. I've seen multiple videos of people doing it like pretty fast, like almost like skips. And I've seen them more like with intentional holds. So I think there's benefit to both. Experiment with that a little bit. That's a great way to get your abs fired up, front of your hip flexors activated, and just help connect everything that you've been working on. Now, obviously fascia is connective tissue. In order to function at its highest capabilities, it has to be hydrated and there has to be adequate nutrition. There are a few different foods that help to naturally strengthen the fascia. You could be doing all this work, and then if you're not sleeping, hydrating, and eating properly, then it's going to take much longer to progress. Just to state the obvious, eat healthy, drink a lot of water, get a lot of rest, let your body recover between these sessions. Now, I don't do all these exercises at once. I will split them up throughout the week, but I will try to hit each exercise multiple times throughout the week. I'm just sharing what I do and how it's helped me. I am not claiming to be an expert on this by any means. It is definitely highly individualized, highly complex, and pretty complicated. So this is just what's helped me stay pain-free, but depending on your disposition and your past history with exercise and mobility, this might be a bit different for you, but this is what's helped me. And it's definitely worth a shot if you've weightlifting and Pilates and yoga and all these different things, but you still deal with a lot of pain. This could definitely help you out. It does take some time, just like anything else. Again, if you're someone with a lot of injuries, a lot of adhesions, you've tried these basics and it doesn't work for you, reach out to him, book an assessment, or join his Patreon. Help support him. He's put in the work on this research for over 10 years now, written books and given out tons of free game. So wanted to pay him a little homage by making this video, just helping y'all know about it, because it's really been a game changer for me, helping me be completely injury-free while running for the first time in, I guess, ever, really, maybe my freshman year of high school. I hope this helps. Drop a comment. Let me know what I left out. Definitely more exercises out there for the fascia. So if you guys have any that you recommend that I missed, please let me know. Appreciate y'all. Stay healthy. Happy running. Catch y'all on the next one. Peace.